Brian, what are you hearing when it comes to how supply will impact demand and how many phones they're actually going to be able to sell?
So obviously there's a shortage situation. We were just out in China a couple weeks ago, and the 3D sensor module has been the major bottleneck here. The issue is not totally complete, but they're going to be able to ship, we're thinking 27 million iPhone 10 units in the December quarter. So things are definitely progressing, getting a lot better. The supply's getting better, but that's really been the issue.
Will the fact that this phone is more difficult to make and they are having some supply issues, as we've reported, will that impact ultimate unit sales and, the revenue for the holiday quarter?
Well, I think what you're going to see, there's a couple interesting dynamics. And one thing we learned in China, there is a voracious appetite for this iPhone 10. So obviously they're raising the price here, but there's a very strong appetite. The other thing we noticed was that iPhone 8 was fairly muted, but there is a trade down to iPhone 7. So they're really being able to bifurcate this smartphone market with this strategy. Now they play in the ultra luxury smartphone segment, and they can offer lower end price points, $150 lower than the iPhone 8 with the iPhone 7. So I think you're going to see, yes, I think some of this will take a little bit of revenue away from the December quarter, but it's going to make a less seasonal March quarter, a less seasonal June quarter. And so I think what we saw today is, this fictitious narrative around weakness of this iPhone cycle was really put to rest. And I think that's a great point for the stock.
Brian, with Apple earnings coming up next week, what are you watching? What are you expecting?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think the earnings and the outlook are going to be less important than the vibe around this iPhone 10 cycle. And any revenue that we don't get in the December quarter, I think you're going to be able to report that in the March quarter or in the June quarter. It's the iPhone cycle, the iPhone 10 cycle, that matters. It's not the quarter or the outlook, in my view.